just being at Ohio State?
It's been great so far. I really love my experience so far with all the players, and I think they got a great group of guys in the locker room and great coaches that push you and make you work hard and make you better each day. And I think that they do a lot of things really well here, and I think that shows in a lot of ways.
Devin said he's known you for a long time.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with him?
Yeah, I mean, I love Devin. We actually, I think I was like a counselor at one of the camps when he was maybe in like middle school or something like that. So that's, I think, the first time I met him. And it's just amazing to see how much he's grown, obviously, since then. And now, being on the same team with him and watching him, play at an elite level is amazing.
What were the things he told you about Ohio State that made you want to come here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a place where competition is big, right? And you're competing with yourself every day to be the best version of yourself. This has some of the best coaches in the country, obviously. Like, they do a really good job here. Everything is challenging, and you have to strain to be the best version of yourself. And I was really interested in going somewhere where I was going to be challenged to improve, and I think that that's something that's offered here. So,
Ryan Day said that you want to be a coach. What is it about Ohio State that makes you think this can help set you up for a career in coaching?
Yeah, I think that obviously Coach Day, Coach Dennis, they're great coaches, and learning under them is obviously a great opportunity. This is an offense that is, always rated super highly in the country, and I think that's because of the things that they're able to do and the way that they teach. And being at a place like Ohio State is obviously a great thing to be under all the time, I guess.
What is special about this offense? What jumps out at it as you've maybe admired it from afar, Tristan?
Yeah, I think that obviously, like, the play calls are great, and the skill players are really, really good as well. But it seems like, to me, it always seemed like there was like a sense of urgency. When you watch it, and now being here, it's kind of confirmed like how detailed and detail-oriented the offense is, and how important it is, timing and all those things.
Yeah.
The little things add up, and you see it on Saturdays.
What do you see? I mean, you've talked about this before a little bit, but what do you see as your place in this quarterback room? Obviously, you aspire to be a coach, but you've started football games, Power 5 football game. You know what I mean? How do you see your place?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I see it is, personally, it's my responsibility to be the best version of myself every day and to help with whatever is needed of me. So whether that be, helping guys out, playing, whatever is, being asked of me, I need to do that to the best of my ability. And in order to do that, I have to be able to be the best version of myself every day and just improve every day. That's how I see it, at least.
But do you see yourself in the competition for the starting job, I guess, is what I'm.
Yeah, like I said, that's never really been a thing that I focus on too much. Like, to me, I need to be the best version of myself, and if I'm able to do that, I think that I can, impress coaches and, my teammates, and, show that I can play at a high level. That's what's important to me, if that makes sense.
Devin was saying earlier that his relationship with you, or that you guys kind of knew each other for a while, helped the coaches get involved with you. How did that happen exactly?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it all unfolded, I guess, but I just got a call, or I got, hit up by Coach Dennis when I was in the portal, and, we were talking about Devin and all those things, and being able to talk to Devin, somebody that I know pretty well, and hear a whole lot about Ohio State and what they're about here, I think helped me make a decision to come here. So.
Did you always want to play a seventh year of college football? Was there a time where you're like, maybe I'll move on?
I think right when I was finishing up, I thought maybe that was maybe it. But I started to I kept throwing with my little brother who plays at Hawaii, and there's something in you that you're not ready to hang it up, and I felt like I wasn't ready, and so I'm very grateful to be here, and I'm really happy that I decided to throw my hat back in the ring and get back involved with another team, because I think that there's a lot of great things going on here.
Tristan, can you put on your coaching hat for a second and evaluate what you've seen from, because you knew Devin before, what you've seen from Kyle McClure just a couple months here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're both very talented players. I think that they both have a good understanding of the offense, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, obviously they have physical talent, both of them, and they have a lot of things that they're really good at. And I think that it's going to be a great competition for sure.
Just one day in, how does a practice here at Ohio State compare to a practice at Oregon State?
I would say that obviously Oregon State's pro style, huddle, basically every play. So basically you're just running a lot more plays here in a 20-period practice. I think that's what stood out the most to me, which is good. Different system, different scheme, and there's a lot of things that Oregon State does, well, a lot of things that Ohio State does well, and that's why it's great. Not only being a player, but looking at it as a coach and saying, hey, there's, obviously Oregon State had a great year last year, 10-3, Ohio State 10-2, national championship semifinal. So 2 different systems, 2 different mindsets, operations, and they're both successful. So.
To be able to build your resume on learning from Jonathan Smith, the best offensive minds on that side of the country,
right?
Come over here, learn from Ryan Day on this side of the country. How much do you think that helps you when you get to the coaching?
Yeah.
You still want to play, but
yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, there's a dream of coaching.
Yeah.
Learning from Jonathan Smith and now Ryan Day.
Yeah, like you said, I think that I've been very fortunate to play under some really great coaches. Jonathan Smith at Oregon State's a fantastic coach. Ryan Day is obviously a really great coach, and they have different kind of philosophies in some ways, and in some ways they're pretty similar. And so being able to see behind the curtain and look at those things and say, okay, what do I like, what do I not, and then being able to go and articulate those things down the road when I'm up for coaching opportunities. But what I'm really blessed right now is that I have an opportunity to go and have another chance to play, and I'm super fired up about that.
How do you feel like the culture here compares to what it was at Oregon State?
It's interesting. I think that there's a lot of things that are very similar. Like if you took any guys from Oregon State and you planted them in this locker room, I think that they would get along really well because they're similar character people. Like I think that's what Coach Smith and Coach Day do a good job of, is finding guys that have good character and bringing them into the locker room. And I think that's really important for team chemistry. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that are very similar. And I think that there's a couple things that are a little different. So,
what do you see that's different?
I would say that there's definitely a high sense of urgency at Ohio State, I think. Primarily, I think because of the way that the offense is run. In other words, you're running more plays at Ohio State than you are at Oregon State. At Oregon State, you're huddling, you're checking plays at the line of scrimmage a lot. Run dominant, kind of offense, at least last year. And so yeah, I feel like that's really what the difference is.
Is there a difference just in like the level of expectation of like now you're at a school that's competing for national championships every year?
Right, of course. There's that, and Columbus is a bigger city and has a bigger following than Oregon State. But I think that what I've been able to do personally, and learning from Coach Smith and Coach Lindgren, that it didn't really matter what the circumstance was. They're all big games. Like every day in practice is game day to you. And as far as I was always concerned, I'm competing for a national championship every day. So as hard as it is to say, or as easy as it is to say that there's big expectations here, because there are, obviously. This is Ohio State, and they have been competing for national championships for a long time, and Oregon State's trying to get into that kind of category. I want to hold myself to a high standard, and I've wanted to do that for my whole career, if that makes sense.
I mean, you've started games, you've played in rivalry games. Like, what do you think you can bring to the room in that regard when the rest of the guys haven't played as much as you have?
Yeah, I think that what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to step back and look at the bigger picture and say, hey, these are the things that we need to do on a weekly basis to give ourselves the best chance to win, right? Routine, and having the discipline to go and watch film on this, and that, and just being able to be another voice in the room that's almost like a coach. And also, like, when you're coming off the field, it's good to, in my experience, it's good to have somebody to talk to that has played, right? My first start against Oregon in 2019, Jake Luton was there. He got hurt, and I started that game. And having somebody that was experienced like Jake, who played a lot of football and is now in the NFL, being able to come off the field and talk to somebody who's played in those games and knows how it is to be out there under the lights and being the man in the arena, and how difficult some of those situations are. And I think that's what I bring to the room.
Tristan,
personally.
How did the hamstring injury shape you as a person, player, and that kind of change the way you look at your career?
Yeah, I think that injury in a lot of ways, it taught me how to persevere. Obviously a pretty catastrophic injury, and I probably could have decided to hang it up a couple times now, and I just keep on plugging, and I'm pretty proud of that personally. That it didn't change my approach. It didn't matter if I was injured or not. I was still going to do the same things for the quarterback room and serve my teammates in whatever way that I could. Being injured really the last kind of 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons, starting to feel better midway through last season. I was able to be named a captain for 3 years in a row, which I'm super proud of personally. And I think it goes to show you that, sometimes you get dealt a bad hand, and if you can make the most of it and do your duty and be reliable and dependable, great opportunities will come, because I really believe that if I didn't handle it the way that I did, I wouldn't be sitting here where I am right now.
Were you considering coaching before that injury, or was that kind of a point?
Yeah, I always so from my freshman year, I just loved being around the game. I loved learning about all the intricacies that were going on and helping guys and talking to players about what's going on. And it's something that just excites me, being able to talk ball and be around guys that having a common goal and trying to work towards that goal. I think that there's nothing really like it in the world, and it's great.
And then how long did it take you to kind of get to the point where you don't think about that hamstring all the time?
Well, I think as soon as, like the adrenaline kicks in, you don't think about it. Like when I'm playing practice game, it didn't matter. Like, you don't think about those things. You're just playing. And that's great. So.